What if I told you that this episode isn't real? That the big boys don't exist, and we're all just living in the matrix. I mean a simulation. Interested to know more? Come with us on an elevator ride. An elevator called this week's episode. Our destination? The 13th floor.
Prepare to be mesmerized and or mortified.
Well, what's happening there?
Old Sorrel's here had me something now.
You son of a...
Yeah, clever. Kind of soft and only like in one ear.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Look at those boys, ain't they?
Big Boys with Brian Hickey and John the Great. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful, fantastic episode of the Big Boys Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hickey. With me, as always, is my co-host in all things podcasting, the man, the myth, the legend, wearing a T-shirt of another champion today, and that the 49th state. Oh, it's not a championship shirt. It's just a 49th.
No, it's 49th.
It's a shirt about Alaska.
Yeah,
Sir John the Great.
I've been there.
John, what's new with you and your 49th state loving ass? What's new with your junk?
It's not new, but since you mentioned the shirt, I have been there to the brewery, obviously, which is located in Alaska, and sampled some of their brew. It was not bad, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
So, like, what is that the name of the brewery? 49th State?
Yeah, 49th State
Brewery?
Brewing Company. Because Alaska is the 49th state.
No, I get it. It's just like, generally when you see like and numbers of placing things, most people aren't proud when it gets to number 49. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Usually.
I don't know if it's so much as a proud as like a statement of fact.
What else? What else is pride?
Well, that would be like if they were like bragging about being 49, like we're 49 out of 50. Like, yeah, like 50 can kiss our ass. Like,
Basically, I mean, that's what this little I don't know what you call those leaves or whatever that you see for every film festival or whatever. It's not just a statement of fact. It's their bragging about like, hey, this is a festival that we got into.
that could be just like barley and grains, because beer.
That can also be the same thing. I mean, there's probably a lot of film festivals that have a lot of barley and grain as well, a lot of beer for the people that want to attend those. So there's a lot of similarities in those in a lot of ways, I'm sure, no doubt. Or
Possibly
what else is new with you?
maybe they're just proud of the
Possibly?
beer. No. I said possibly. Maybe they're just more proud of the beer than they are, their product. They take pride in what they do. They're not necessarily pride in the order in which they were added to these United States, but I'm guessing here. I don't know. I'm speculating along with you, but yeah.
Well, as long as we got them to consider adding the asterisk,
Yeah.
we're proud of the beer. Not that we're the
Just so
49th
you know.
state. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't know, man. Alaska's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm not shitting on Alaska. Don't start doing this again. Okay.
I'm not saying that. I was just not saying it is. This isn't a zero-sum game.
Awesome.
I can acknowledge
That's
that it's
a
awesome
juxtapose,
without implying that you're acknowledging that it's
But
not.
yes,
Like,
I'm agreeing. You can do that, and you should do that, rather than just juxtaposing it between every time I say something and like in contradiction to what you're saying. I actually enjoy it. I think it's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't enjoy it or think that it would be a wonderful place. I've never been, you smug son of a bitch.
Well, I would recommend
Stop turning
visiting
this
if
on
you
me.
can. I don't think you'll regret it.
Yeah, well, I hear it's the 49th state to be in.
Yeah. 49th state of mind. Yeah. That's a t-shirt right there. Or it should be. Yeah.
Really should be.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's certain floors you skip over with an elevator, you know, and 13 being one of them.
There's
and as if
superstition.
if I were to equate, if I were to equate that as a T-shirt that you just mentioned, and the floor of an elevator, I would equate that to the 13th floor because I would skip right over it. However, the movie that we just watched and are reviewing in this episode, The 13th Floor. Well, dear John boy, ain't no way I'm ever skipping over this one. This movie
Join us
strikes the
on a
question, what if The Matrix wasn't made in 1999? Would you have found this movie much more enjoyable?
Oh, it's
And then
You
my
know-
answer is, duh.
possibly
Matrix,
because I
yeah.
honestly wasn't even a fan of The Matrix when it came out. So, I mean, I didn't
Really?
actively hate it. Now, I didn't see it when it was brand new, but it'd been out maybe, a couple years. And
not a
I
lot
re-
of active hating in your youthful years? You were saving those for later?
Yeah. Well, what I mean is, it's not like I was just running around being like, The Matrix sucks. And, but
Yeah, let's clock that. This is 99, so you're what, 9 years old? You're 10?
10. Yeah. 10 tops.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
but-
go on.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I thought The Matrix was. Now, I appreciate it much more now. But at the time, I remember watching it with some cousins who were really into it and not really, like, I don't know, thinking it was a little overrated. Now I can appreciate it a lot more and, like, really appreciate the achievement of the special effects. At the time, I didn't really. I don't know. I just remember
Yeah.
it being, like, kind of hard to follow. Maybe I wasn't paying that much of attention, but
Yeah, no, you have ADHD for sure.
yeah.
And also, how do you like this, John? Whereas that's an interesting point you just made there, but whereas where I enjoyed the special effects. I don't know which cousins you're talking about, but I actually, I met a cousin or two of yours before, and I actually enjoyed their presence. I enjoyed their company. That's juxtaposed to what you just said.
Okay, I don't know which cousins you met, so I may or may not agree with you. But yeah.
Oh man, shots fired in general directions of your cousins.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say maybe there's a Cody in there or something. I don't know. I was just making a point.
yes, different cousin, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. No, she was
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. As you said, it's got a very much. This movie has very much like a Twilight Zone vibe.
Yeah,
With it's just like. But like, what if I told you that you figure out the plot of this entire episode within the first act, and then you have to sit through it for another two?
yeah. I guess the point I'm making was I'm thinking about it differently because I wasn't into The Matrix when it came out. Is my point. So, but I can definitely see, to answer your question, like obviously why The Matrix was a huge hit and this was not. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what if The Matrix was a slow paced noir film that had I don't know, like just kind of which was, I don't know, dude, like kind of torn on it because it had an interesting angle for their adding. I mean, they did I don't think the love story angle worked that well in the movie. I think they could have probably like reconstructed it into something much less significant than what it was, but it was interesting that they at least made it part of the story rather than also like, oh, and also there's a love angle going on with this sci-fi, dimensional shifting.
I thought this one was hard to
That's
follow
realities.
too. Like The Matrix, like upon a rewatch as an adult, it's not really that hard to follow. I think I was just not really paying that much attention when I watched it for the first time as a kid. But yeah, this one, it seemed to be harder to follow. Like some stuff didn't really make sense. Like a spoiler warning. Pause for a second in case anyone hasn't seen it. Okay,
Yeah.
like at the end,
Pause for
when,
anyone in 99.
yeah, when all of a sudden, like, didn't he die in the simulation? And then how is his alter ego in the guy's real body at the end? You know what I mean?
So what happened was he was wearing the weird headset in the year. Wait for it. Did you look at the paper at the end? What year it was in the actual reality?
Yeah, I did think that was funny. I was like, all right, yeah.
It was the year upon Star Lord. The
Yeah, 2024.
Indeed.
So this movie just happened, actually.
Kind of. It's coming up. I think it said June or something like that. Anyways, so what had happened was, because they showed an earlier example of it, where both versions of Vincent D'Onofrio's character Asher, and I forget the geeky technical guy's name, would they intertwine with each other? The guy who is, the tech geek version of Vincent D'Onofrio goes back and becomes Asher, and then gets hit by a car, but he's, as the tech geek version of himself in Asher's body in the simulation. He dies because he's himself in getting hit by Asher's body, getting hit by that car. So when tech geek D'Onofrio rises back up from the simulation into their simulated world. Yeah, that's right. It's a simulation within a simulation.
Yeah, I was thinking that this has a little bit of Rick and Morty vibes here. Like,
oh, it definitely does, man. Yeah, like I dig the story element of it. It is. I really do enjoy it.
Honestly, it wasn't bad. Like I could see us having this conversation in a much more positive light, like you said, if The Matrix hadn't come out at that time. Like,
yeah. So to wrap up the loop there, though, Asher, the bartender guy, the simulation within the simulation, has become Geeky D'Onofrio. So therefore, it showed how that works. So Geeky D'Onofrio is actually dead, and now you have bartender Asher and Geeky D'Onofrio's body, who was then murdered by Murdery Bierko, who is at the top dimension. Or the top.
See, that's what I'm saying, and that's my point exactly. Like, I'm having trouble even following your explanation here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's been a few days since I watched it now, so I'm but
I'm just enjoying having to try to tie the knots together to make the explanation. Like, oh, hold up, I got to go back here, and Jesus, yeah.
See, it was another one of those where I feel like people had a great idea, and they got halfway, 3/4 of the way through the movie, and we're like, oh my god, there's no end in sight. We gotta. I don't know, man. We got to wrap this up. Whatever we got to do, just all right. Turns out they're in a simulation. This guy dies, and then they live happily ever after. All right, that's good enough. We're already over budget as it is. The producer's up my ass. Like, we got to cut this off.
Well, that's what the Wachowskis did right with The Matrix. And I just say just The Matrix. I have notes about Revolutions and Reloaded, but that's what they did right with The Matrix versus, which again, I still have love for this movie, but they just needed to pick up the pace, man, get it going. Like something like an idea is this big as a concept, you just got to have it constantly moving and stop overthinking it, because then it just becomes so convoluted that it I don't know. Again, I'm just giving, I'm just saying shit. I'm filling stuff to fill an hour here and talking about a movie that's just weird. It's weird. It's a weird fucking movie.
But it was entertaining,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's fun to always see Dennis Haysbert and something.
The cast was pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude, and again, I can't say enough about Vincent D'Onofrio. The guy kills it in everything he's in. I don't know if I should say he maybe underrated isn't the right word, because he works steadily, but
yeah, he's not. I guess he's not
a leading
does
man
with his body. Yeah, he's basically doing what what's his name? Gets a lot of credit for doing. Guy who's fucking Christian Bale. You know what I mean? In this time period in his life,
yeah.
You just look at his size going from When was Full Metal Jacket? That was
87.
90? 87?
Yeah, and he's talked about that, like having to put on a ton of weight for that movie, and
Yeah. And then was he in the Goonies before that?
I don't remember. He was in Men in Black.
Yeah,
and honestly,
he was
killed
much
that
there.
performance. Like,
Yeah. And that was before this, right?
It was a couple years before this. Men in Black was 97, I think.
Yeah. And he's got like a much younger look in this, and like, he's in, and then I know he also did like Jennifer Lopez also had like a horror film around this time he was like playing a serial killer that she went into the mind of. Cell is what it was called.
The Cell. I've never seen that. I've heard people talk about it,
but anyways, he was in pretty good shape for that too. So like his body is like fluctuating quite a bit. And as you said, it's just like, I guess he's mostly just been doing more what we call character work rather than he's being a leading man and everything.
Yeah, he's always like character supporting actor, which to me,
he's fantastic, man.
He's like in that same group as like Stephen Root. Like the guy's like, you never see his name as like the top leading, like Stephen Root in. But he's always in there playing like a supporting character, and he just kills it every time.
Yeah. I would argue though that Stephen Root's kind of a bigger name now, so you might see it now. But also, who would complain in their shoes, man? That's the sweet spot to be in,
That's kind of what I was saying. That's honestly the career I would kind of rather have. Just like the only people that really know you are like enthusiasts. It's not like, Tom Cruise, where you can't even go to the grocery store without a mob developing,
Or even better for the work part of it is like, you're probably you're not in all the movie, but you're in a good chunk of it. And you're there to support. So like, the lead's got most of the stuff to say or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you're basically just hanging around most of the time, just getting paid to hang around. That's easy living, man.
Well, and I'm sure at this point too, they're obviously in demand character actors.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, they're still probably getting, a few million a picture, depending on the size of the role.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Stevie Root's getting his money.
Because you'll see him everywhere, from like a movie, like he's in a number of the Coen Brothers things. Then he'll show up randomly in something, like he was in one of the shorts on Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Then he was in like a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. Like the dude just shows up everywhere.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that old Craig Bierko didn't show up in a Coen Brothers in The Mandalorian episode yet. Because, as I said, another reason why this movie is a special treat for me is that I also long for this man's career, because he's like he's the more successful version of what I see in my unsuccessful career, where he's like, he just continues to fail upwards. And I actually like his acting style too. I have some notes, but he keeps on getting in these leading man roles that like you would think that like, oh, okay, well, this is going to be the next thing that boosts you up to being like a household name, rather than being on a random podcast where a guy who's like questioning, is it Bierko or Bierko every time I say it. But what he's got, are you on his IMDb?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like if you look, he's still working, but it's not like you were saying, not like a household name.
But he was like one of Larry David's first directorial projects, like around the time that he was making Seinfeld. Like I think it's called Sour Grapes. Made that flopped. Scary Movie series were on fire. Gets to Scary Movie 4. That's probably like when they start becoming way less successful. That was the one that he starred in.
I would say they started at 3, but 3 probably still made numbers because it was coming off of the success of 1 and 2. But I think 3 is probably the one that really like cut the knees out from the franchise.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely a shift from not having the Wayans brothers, I guess.
Yeah.
But my point is like that's
also when they went.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, it didn't have the David Zucker. Well, I guess it was still a David Zucker film, because that's also another thing of, like, from Larry David to David Zucker, the man is, worked with the realest of the motherfuckers.
Yeah. That's also when they switched to PG-13 and stopped being R-rated. Was that 3?
Maybe that too.
So that's a little
also,
something.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna give you my personal opinion. I actually have, fond memories of going back and watching 3, and it lives up. 4, not so much.
Yeah, 3's not terrible. But, and it actually does have some genuinely funny moments. So maybe I'm wrong in that assessment, but I think it's kind of like it is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, well,
Even though they made like 2 or 3 more.
I'm a sucker for Anthony Anderson. He's in, and him and Kevin Hart's relationship and 3 is just fantastic.
Dude, I completely did not even realize Kevin Hart was in that, because when that came out, I had no idea who he was, So, like,
you know what Kevin Hart's doing? He's basically just doing a Ja Rule impression. And that came out around the same time, too.
Okay, we might have to do Scary Movie 3 in one of these episodes, because now I'm kind of wanting to rewatch it.
We may indeed. Indeed, my man.
I'm trying to see this Sour Grapes one that you were talking about that he was
in. I'd love to find it, too. It's hard to find, man. It's hard to find, like, any trailers or anything, too.
I don't even see it on his credits list. There it is, 1998. Yeah. It's actually just a little before this, before the 13th Floor.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying, like, you got a Larry David picture under your belt now. You got this this weird sci-fi. I don't know how much this one, but it's got to be a handful of million that was, like, going into this. I mean, Dennis Haysbert is coming off of Heat, and
that was pre Allstate, when he was just acting.
Exactly.
Yeah. D'Onofrio was coming off of Men in Black, and I mean, he was already pretty well established by then, at least as like a
there
character.
There we go. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The movie had a solid cast.
So I'm saying it had probably a decent sized budget, and then they're like, all right, this is your moment, Craig. Okay, we don't know what happened there, but hey, we got this next project here. It's a sure thing. Scary movie. 1, mega blockbuster, buku bucks. 2, everyone loves it. 3, people are still on board even though the Wayans brothers are out. You're sure to make a success out of what happened, Craig. What are we doing? Okay, we got this next show on. We have this this comedy pilot on Fox. Hey, it got picked up. Great. Goes to 1 season. Canceled. And then, I don't know, probably so on and so forth.
You know what? But at the same time, when I'm actually looking at, you're making solid points, but when I'm actually looking at his credits, he did some decent stuff in between. Now, I don't know if these were starring roles, but right after Sour Grapes, he was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So maybe that overshadowed the flop,
So there's also that, and then this was the connection. I was like, oh, this is where I would love his career, where you were saying, like, I think I pointed this guy out to you before, and you're like, damn, he's kind of like you in the sense, like, everyone he works with just goes on to make really incredible stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone except him, like, it goes on to be successful. Like,
yeah, because that sitcom I was telling you about that he was a star or whatever, like Rashida Jones was his love interest or whatever, and I think the next show she went on to right after that was like Community, or not Community, whatever, Parks and Rec, yeah,
which got huge.
And, yeah, exactly. And then he just kind of kept on doing.
Because he was also in Cinderella Man, which I remember being a big hit.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, he's in all sorts of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Again, another character actor, which is why I'm not, I'm surprised you wouldn't see him show up in something you would see every other character actor.
Honestly, maybe that's what happened. And again, to your point, I would not turn my nose up at that kind of career either. Like, maybe he didn't make it as a starring man, but, getting work as a character actor, like, hard to be mad at that.
I wouldn't be mad. You hear me, Hollywood? I wouldn't be mad at all.
In fact, I would be overjoyed.
Joy, I tell you. Joy. Radiating from this face. Oh, can't you see, Hollywood?
We used to make that joke about my dad. The Far Side, if you're familiar with those comics, there was one where it was like Warren Hagstrom, professional Western movie background street crosser. And it's like the frame is like two guys about to draw pistols, and there's one guy walking across the street in the back and like an arrow pointing at him, like that's Warren. And we'd always be like, that's you, Dad. You need to have that blown up and framed. Like
seriously, didn't you say in there like is it the Jericho show you were telling me that he gets like thrown over a bar or something?
Yeah, it's not the show. It was an independent Western movie from like 2000 called Jericho.
Oh, okay.
But you actually do see his face, but the characters get into a bar fight and a guy gets punched and like basically crashes into the table Dad's sitting at and like knocks him over.
Oh, you got to get that framed, his reaction to the crash or something.
Yeah.
That'd make for a great hallway painting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, man. So, my favorite character in this entire movie, probably the least sci-fi character of all of them, as the bartender that, comes back to...
Talking about played by Vincent D'Onofrio?
No. The bartender in their reality, who comes back to blackmail Craig Bierko.
Oh, okay. I think I remember who you're talking about. Yeah.
The guy who's like, he sees the old man step out or whatever. And just hilarious to me that he comes in like, he's coming to shake the guy down for witnessing him, for basically being the proverbial witness to a Phil Collins song. He's coming there to shake him down. And then once Craig Bierko fights back and he's just like, whoa, you're fucking crazy, man. You're crazy. I didn't expect you, a murderer, to come at me with physical violence. What is this?
Yeah. Hey, come on. Isn't that a little excessive?
Also, no, let's keep on shitting on this man here.
So my question, I guess people just lived, I guess since they were simulations, they just lived simulated lives until a user jumped into them because you saw like their eyes flash.
You know what simulated life that man lived? World's shittiest bartender.
Yeah.
Because the guy comes, Fuller comes in, the old man who is, that's what the whole movie's about, is the mystery of who killed Fuller, comes in and orders a martini, world's biggest dickhead bartender, because we don't have martinis. Or no, he gives him a shot of just vodka. And he was like, you forgot the olive. Like, we're out of olives. He's like, how about some pretzels?
For my martini?
Yeah.
I kind of remember who you're talking about now. Yeah.
Like, it would have just been just as great if he would have just walked in and just like, welcome to Dickheads. My name's Bartender. Can I take your order?
I'll have a martini. Beer it is. Like, just get his order totally wrong. Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. There's a bar still over there. Is this like a fucking, is this a Dick's theme? Like bar that this guy goes to? Like, I would love if they showed like a wide shot and it's just like, shenanigans theme or, assholes.
Yeah.
Theme, sports bar.
Yeah. Jerks.
Yeah. Rough and tumbles.
Something else, I can't help but keep comparing it to the Matrix now.
It's impossible.
And this is maybe
came out the same year.
Something else too is like, maybe it's just that we look at it differently, but like when you go back and watch the Matrix, does it just not seem as dated? Like when you watch this movie, it's decent, don't get me wrong, but like you can tell you're watching an older movie.
Oh yeah.
Like we're saying, the special effects aren't trash or anything, but you can just tell you're watching an older movie. But the Matrix still, like, I feel like it still looks decent when you watch it. Now, some of the CGI is a little goofy, but it still looks all right. Like,
I think it holds up. Everything in Matrix holds up still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's what just kind of just puts this one to shame, which is interesting because, like, again, like, I just think they do a better job of just like action cut, action cut, action cut, versus like where they just it's a I think a much better story reveal, but as you say, it shows how dated the the visual effects were of the time. Like I think the pullback of the wide of in the 13th floor where they reveals that even his reality is a simulation as well. It's it's a greater story reveal, but it just looks goofy as fuck.
Yeah, the effects didn't look. It almost looked like Tron effects or something, you know?
Yeah. Whereas, Neo, I can't even offer a fucking critique. It's just a badass scene. I was gonna say, like Neo falling into the mirror and coming into another dimension through that. It's a way cooler visual effect. I guess the only note I was gonna say is like the play to make it like the big climactic, turning point, the big discovery is that when you thought it was, who figuring out who murdered who, and then that the big revelation is that this is the simulation as well. That was a huge reveal versus where they just did it very quickly on in the movie.
Yeah.
But also, it's the Matrix, buddy. We got a whole lot of people to put bullets into. So
yeah. That is true too. The Matrix was also more of an action sci-fi. So this was a little bit more of kind of a drama suspense, kind of like a detective whodunit, which was cool. Which was cool.
I don't even think this is a bad movie. It's just when you compare it to The Matrix, it's just worse in every way.
It had bad timing, unfortunately. It
exactly.
just came out. And let's face it, The Matrix was like a sleeper hit too. Like nobody was expecting that when it came out.
Define sleeper hit.
Well, maybe that's not the best word, but like I don't think anybody could have, in a way, kind of like Jurassic Park. I don't think anybody expected to see something visually like that when they, when it was advertised. I don't think they really expected that visually it was going to be that stunning.
Nobody predicted it.
Because I know there was an interview with Will Smith one time, or it's just like a little snippet, but because everybody likes to joke around that like he turned down doing The Matrix and how stupid that would be, and he was talking about like, well, to give a little perspective, he was like, I was approached by the Wachowski brothers, and they were talking about all these great ideas, but it was like, oh, we're gonna do this, and the camera will pan and rotate into this, and they were like, we're literally gonna invent technology, and he was like, it sounded like, like of course one of those like, well, good luck with that, but I just don't think this is for me, like, because like they're literally having to talk about creating things. Now I'm paraphrasing here. I don't remember his exact words, but it's like, okay, you're trying to do something that doesn't even exist yet. Like, all right, I don't think I'm going to take the risk on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Will Smith doesn't have the best track record of, he's turned down Quentin Tarantino films.
Yeah.
So, I get where he's coming from on the one hand, but then also at the same time, you missed out, kid. You missed out.
And unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. But I mean, did the how do you pronounce it? Wachowskis? Were they even really much of a name before The Matrix? I feel like that's what really made them.
No, I was going to say that's the differential between Jurassic Park and this is that like Steven Spielberg was like a name you can trust. The Wachowskis had like one hit before this that was like a kind of like a thriller. Two women kind of go on like on the run murder spree kind of thing. I don't know.
Oh, did they do Thelma and Louise?
No, I don't think they did. Like, but it was something like that. They didn't do Thelma and Louise. I think it was something with Jennifer Tilly, maybe.
We're about to find out.
Find out, man. Find out. Get to the bottom of it. Get to the bottom.
Let's see. Yeah. I figure out what they're gonna. Okay, this is all not in order. Well, we'll just go to the. The Matrix, directed by. Well, they're listing them both, so we'll pick. I guess it's now Lana Wachowski.
Yeah, they've transitioned.
Okay, The Matrix. That's his writer. They did one called Bound before that. And
That's
then
it.
Called
Bound.
it Assassin.
It's Bound.
Okay. Oh, apparently they were writers for Assassins too. I think, which had Antonio Banderas.
But Bound was their big hit.
Oh, sorry. There is that kind of what made them.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why are you?
Yeah.
Why are you messing with your audio?
Um.
But yeah, Bound is I guess was their big hit before this. I think. Hey, you know what I enjoyed? There's a quote here at the beginning of this movie from Descartes that says, "I think, therefore I am." And I don't know who decided to put that in the front of the movie, but I'm glad somebody finally called Descartes out on his shit. You know, he ain't been shit since 1650. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I honestly, though, that was an interesting aspect to this movie.
Right.
Was
and it reminds me to inform you that, like, John, if you ain't around, you ain't shit.
Well, that's fair enough.
I mean, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right there.
Although I don't know what that's got to do with being around. The question would it be, do I think? And I would say yes.
And therefore you are shit.
But how is that the default?
And if you do not think, you are therefore not, and therefore not shit.
I'm not sure about that. I thought the thing was I think, therefore I am. So wouldn't it be if you don't think?
Well, I think that's like what I said, but like I said it in my words, but you said it in your words.
It sounded like you were inverting it. Yeah.
Right. Well, whatever the subtext of the inverse of the equation came out to be, the sum parts were greater and cooler when I said them, and probably were correct when the words came out of my mouth, versus when you spoke, they probably were not correct.
All right. I'm just gonna take that in and think it over. Try and
I love how I'm trying to
run with whatever I think my best version of whatever that means is. Like,
yeah, I love how I'm just doing my best to try to subtly slam you, and then you're just like, that's the one time you decided to fucking yes and me. It's like, yeah, sure.
I mean, whatever. Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think what else to sum up about this movie. I would recommend people give it a watch. It was interesting. I think it did its job as far as like, you're not going to watch it and just be like, oh man, I wish I could get those 2 hours back. Hour and 40 minutes, whatever. I don't know. Maybe some people might feel that way. You can never tell this day and age.
Are you walking up the hill or are you walking down it? Which are you for the movie or are you against it?
I'm kind of for it, but I don't want to go out there and then other people are like, I thought it was total trash. And yeah, it's like, okay, well, whatever. I didn't think it was so bad.
You know what? How many, on a scale of 1 to 5 simulations, how many simulations would you give?
1 to 5. You know what? I think just like the movie, I'm going to give it 3 simulations.
Whew. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's not bad.
I think 4 would be excessive, but 2 is excessively low. Now, we could argue decimals if we want, but I'm just going to go with a nice round 3 simulations.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. 3 simulations for me as well. You know?
Yeah.
I'll give it a Simucon 3. It's as again I enjoy the elements of the story. It's just every criticism always comes back to it's not the Matrix.
Yeah.
So you watch this, and then you know the next day, put in the Matrix, and you'll be like, oh, okay, this is what was missing. Like the whole time I was watching the 13th floor, and it's like, is there a whole floor missing here? Does it go straight from 12 to 14?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what the 13th floor was missing, the Matrix.
I think that would be like a funny skit. There's something you could do there, being like, wow, man, we really worked hard on this movie. This is such an interesting concept. I think people are going to really enjoy this. And then like the Matrix comes out and they're like, oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Really? Like, come on. Like,
we're fucked.
Yeah.
We're fucked. This was a personal adventure. Oh my God.
Could you imagine being the director on this movie and then just being like, who the heck are the Wachowskis? Like, what do you mean the Matrix? Like, I thought of it first.
I just, every time I see the intro titles, you know, like it says, I can't remember. I think it's a Columbia film. I can't remember, but Centropolis is the other one. I'm just like, oh, hello and goodbye. We're personally invested in this, like, because this is the only time I've ever seen a Centropolis film. So it's like, oh man, that feels like somebody, like a personal investor is like, you know, new film company that like existed probably just for this movie.
Wait, what? You talking about a company within the film?
Yeah, so you know how every movie it starts up with like, you know, Warner Brothers and then you know, whatever and whatever. So Centropolis is the producers of this film. Yeah. And it's the only time I've ever seen that title card, and I think the only time I ever will see that title card, because
you know somebody lost their money out there. Like, I put my life savings into this. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be I've done my homework. They got a solid script, and then all of a sudden, it tanks. Guys,
the movie looks great, but I think I put an extra couple mil in the final touches of the title card for our production. Yeah. Mamma mia, what is this? The Matrix? Oh my God! Oh God! Pour gasoline on top of my
Gotta spend money to make money. I'm just picturing like a cut from a movie there. The guy, well, you gotta spend money to make money, and then the next thing, bankrupt. Like, you know?
Yeah. Just they're all together at a Super Bowl party, and like the trailer for the Matrix drops, like during the commercial break, and they're just all like,
"What the heck is this?"
Yeah. Fucking pizza rolls could just catch on fire in the background.
Although that does bring up the question. Now I'm curious, which one came out first?
It doesn't matter, dude. Because when it comes down to which one came out first between Tombstone and whatever the
Wyatt Earp
story with Wyatt Earp, who gives a shit? Tombstone's the fucking movie.
Oh yeah, it's much better. Yeah. But still, I'm just kind of curious, like, because honestly, if 13th Floor came out first, that just shows you really how much better The Matrix was. That it like came out after.
To their credit,
still
though,
way better.
Yeah, but still to the 13th Floor's credit, I mean, Keanu is already a movie star at this point. So even if The Matrix wasn't successful, like it probably still would have been more known than the 13th Floor.
Ooh, also, Matrix, not only did that, it beat him to the punch. It came out in March 31st of 99. So we're actually coming up on the 25th anniversary of The Matrix.
Damn.
And then this came out in May 28th. So that's got to suck. Be like, here in a couple months, man, we got something that we're hitting you with. It's going to blow all your minds. And then like 2 months before, The Matrix. Like, oh.
You just hear, like, at the premiere of the film, you just, like, there's a whole section of just people crying at the, like, in the theater, just like, we lost our ass. Oh, God.
Yeah, a good time to be a bankruptcy attorney in LA. Like,
Meanwhile, yeah.
yeah.
On the other side of the theater, you just hear whispers of people talking about, "Hey, you guys seen The Matrix yet? It's unbelievable."
Yeah.
Yeah, it puts these dog shit effects to to shame. I lost my ass on those effects.
Yeah. What'd be funny is
we were in the editing room. We are our jaws dropped. Like no one's going to be able to outdo this reveal. Then Keanu Reeves goes and fucking whirls his way into a goddamn mirror. What the fuck was that? I'm
picturing it like a gala or like after party or something. They're talking about, yeah, man, we produced this movie. You know, it's about people living in a simulation. I think we're really onto something. And somebody just being like, "Oh, you were on The Matrix," and it was like, "No, I was not on The Matrix." Like,
yeah, like what are you talking about? What is this Matrix? What is that?
It's like,
yeah.
I'm picturing a storyline now of like this whole thing. It was like, well, may the best man win. You know, that's cute and all, but I think they're going to be really surprised when our movie premieres. And then it just completely flops.
I think, yeah. They're going to be real spellbound by our huge reveal scene. They're going to see Windows 95 graphics.
Although surprisingly enough, this movie did make money, barely, but it made money, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, nice.
$16 million budget, and it made 18.5. So I don't know, depending on how much they spent on advertising, but you know, they made money.
Good for them. Good save from my man Craig.
Now, in the 13th Floor's defense, too, The Matrix did have a significantly larger budget. They had a budget of $63 million.
Yeah, it clearly showed.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one was contesting that. Like, you know what? I think they're probably around the same budget, these two.
Well, no, but what I'm just saying, though, too, is when we talk about, like, oh, man, the Matrix looked way better. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the CGI for the 13th floor, it's like somebody just put in a floppy disk into like a Windows 95 machine, you know?
We're like, this will work.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder that, like, how CGI in some ways has gotten worse. Like, because you go back and watch movies like Jurassic Park or the Terminator 2, I should specify. Like, they still look, even watch them today, they still look pretty good.
Yeah, but I bet you Terminator, or especially Terminator 2, was definitely more than $16 million.
No, Terminator, well, I don't know about the first Terminator, but Terminator 2 it was the first movie to break $100 million budget.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Where, like, I mean, they didn't even have liquid Terminator effects, budget money. Unfortunately, we got hosed, we got fucked.
Yeah. Although that makes me wonder too. Now I'm curious what Jurassic Park's budget was. I'm sure huge.
Yeah, it's again. They had the man who made fucking E.T.
Ooh, $63 million. So it was right about on the same level as The Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's the question then. Because what we should be asking is, who made the 13th floor? What did they make before that? So I don't even know who made it.
Well, director-wise, it was Joseph Rusnak, whom I don't know who that is.
Sounds like a person.
Yep. I don't recognize really anything else he's done. Cold Fever, No Strings Attached, 1997, not the one with
Oh, okay. So I don't know.
What's her name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Contractor, 2007. It's Alive.
Okay.
Perfect Life.
Contractor is isn't it Samuel Jackson?
Wesley Snipes. 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Different guy.
Yep.
Different guy.
Yeah, a different actor.
So what do you think about the I should say that's probably why, again, like, this is one of my favorite wacky zany films is I'm a big nut into the concept of the simulation theory. What's your take on it, John? How many in the sense of their reality there took about like 1 gigabyte of hardware on a floppy disk. How many gigs do you think our reality takes?
A ton. Considering we've already mapped things such as like the human genome, and we already know roughly like how, like, I don't know off the top of my head, but like how much like storage information the human brain is capable of. Like, so not only do you have over 7 billion humans on the earth that can all do that, but like and we've explored pretty much our entire earth with the exception of a large piece of the ocean, which I do realize is a large piece, but still. And we've even begun exploring outer space, the moon. If all of that is a simulation, like that's a ton of information. Of course, that's a ton of information if you're going to get into the simulation theory based on measurements created within this simulation. Who knows what it is in whoever's reality is running the simulation? Maybe it's only a small bit of information. I don't know. Just seems big to us.
Right. But how many floppy disks would you say that would take?
Billions.
So I would need like a stretchy rubber band to bring a plethora. Just
you could say that. I mean, technically, I guess if you had a rubber band large enough, theoretically speaking,
like a finite rubber band with infinite level of stretching.
We're really kind of getting into scientific theory here now. See, guys, this is what's great about the Big Boys podcast. Is not only is it a movie podcast, we are also an educational podcast. We like to talk about science and theories.
We're no holds barred, folks.
We really are. We're Renaissance men. Is really what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like to boil. Everyone knows that.
Like boiled cabbage.
In this reality.
I mean, that is kind of an interesting thing to talk about. I personally don't adhere to the simulation theory, but it's an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I more personally adhere to is whatever is whatever is. And, gonna find out eventually.
Stupid is, stupid does.
That as well. Stupid is as stupid does. Smart is as smart does. 49th state is gonna 49th state.
49th state. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Sponsor us. 49th State Brewing, sponsor us.
Right? Yeah, man. Come on.
49th State Brewing here on. So if we have any listeners in Alaska, please let us know. Reach out to us. Let us know if you were watching or listening to this while consuming a 49th State brewing beverage.
And by let us know, John means let me know. And I'll ingest that information, and then if I remember, I'll regurgitate it to him eventually down the line.
Thank you. Yes,
but
I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
I would appreciate you interacting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would just be thankful you're reaching out. That's all we would be thankful for. Is whomever of us you contact, just we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Track John down. Find him.
No.
Meet him face to face.
Please don't.
Yeah. And then but only if you're going to immediately greet him with the immediate response of, I'm from the 49th state. Don't shoot. Okay. I'm from the 49th state.
That's when I lift up my shirt, showing this shirt underneath. Oh! Yeah. You already know. Yeah.
You already know.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's what a glorious day it will be when that actually occurs for you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to start wearing this shirt under everything now.
Yeah. Well,
Be like Superman. Something happens, unbutton the shirt, and this is like dug into a phone booth. Yeah.
I think we might actually have to write that screenplay, or at least patent it right here. You heard it first. This is our story.
Yeah.
I love the idea of people crying in agony. Where's 49th man? And it's just you going, oh, you already know. But it's like people like, just travesty happening all around you, right? Like people getting bullets, blood flying everywhere. Mothers, daughters, fathers, uncles, brothers, children are being lost or all around you. And still you have to have the audacity to go, not just undo your shirt in like, in a very heroic fashion, but you have to say oh, you already know.
Yeah, exactly. You already know. I like ripping it open. Yeah.
Yeah. Bodies just sprayed everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're still just ripping off his shirt like it's a DJ having a good time at a wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, you already know. What's happening here? What's going on? We got a 9/11? We got a 9/11 going on here?
Yeah.
No.
It's like, you're already like 3 beers in. Like, hey!
Terrible.
Yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't happen for this dimension or any other.
Yes.
And as we wrap up this dimension, do you have anything else you want to add to before we exit the 13th floor and re-enter the twilight zone of our
exactly.
lives?
Kind of what I was just thinking earlier. Take a stop with us on the 13th floor. No, I don't have anything else I would like to add at this time. I think, again, this podcast speaks for itself. I gave it 3 simulations out of 5. I would recommend, if you're not...
It's a solid simulation rating.
Yeah, if you're interested, please give it a watch. I mean, if nothing else, you can watch it. Think of it like Matrix knockoff. That's fun.
Yeah. And like I said, and then cleanse the palate with Matrix right afterwards. And then you can appreciate both. Then it becomes like, a comparison between the two. Like, I had a, nice delectable treat there. But of course, the Matrix was the main course.
Yeah. Maybe I should do that. Watch the Matrix and cleanse the palate, because I haven't done that.
You should. I highly recommend that. And then also I wanted to pitch an idea by you, because I know that we were talking about the upcoming episodes. That's where we're getting ready to wind down season 3. This was episode 6. You believe that? Believe that we're on season 3, episode 6.
Time is passing fast.
Yeah, so I figured for the episode 7, what we should do is, because it will be coming out almost exactly the same day, if not the day before the new Roadhouse comes out, we'll watch the old Roadhouse, give that a chatterbox.
Yes.
And then the week after that, see, this one, this movie in particular was the one that we were built for. This one, I don't even have to watch. I could just talk to you about it all day long. Like I have
Roadhouse?
Yeah, Roadhouse is literally, it's just a memory in my head. It doesn't register as a movie. It's just scenes of the movie are just my memories now.
You know what? You know what? Exactly what you reminded me of, and I could totally see you doing this. Parks and Rec, when they're having the election debate watch when Leslie's running for city council, and the cable goes out, so Andy's just like reenacting scenes from movies. Yeah. And he was like, and so Swayze hits another guy, and then the guy's on a motorcycle, and he's like, and he's literally just up there like in a kid telling, like acting out the movie Roadhouse. And then
that's
he's like,
basically,
Roadhouse. Like, yeah.
Well, there's just many times where I remember, like, those times that I was living inside of a barn, shirtless and oiled up to all hell, and just kicking the shit out of a punch bag. Those were the days.
And Swayze says, "Not this time." Hooks the arm, hits him with the punch, and it was like that. He swore he'd never use again because he killed a guy. He's like, rips his throat area out, and he was like, "You can't eat. You'll starve to death." Like that's what would kill him. Like he's starving to death. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I can't remember if I texted
yeah.
you about that or not, but I'm hoping that I didn't in hindsight, because that means we're thinking on the same wavelength. But I definitely think with the new Roadhouse coming out, we should watch the old and the new and discuss.
Well, look, we're still on the same link, pal. You definitely did text me.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll watch this one, discuss it next week. And then the week at the original, and then the week after that, we'll watch the new one.
Nice.
That mofo. And then would that be 7 and 8? Or so we might even do just like an old BS one in between. Who knows? Because it might take some time for me to write up sketches and things of that nature. Which did I even do? I don't even think I did one for here. We
did not, but you know what? I don't think we needed it.
I don't think we do either. Because honestly, I wrote it, but it was very much half-assed, and it was. I'm trying to like I'll accept one from you because you need to be motivated to do things, but I'm trying to steer away from doing ChatGPT written sketches. Like the ones that I've done this season are all written by me. So
well done.
Just
You're really working on those writing chops, man. I think that deserves a round of applause. I'm not going to clap too loudly. I don't want to peak the mic, but yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Soft claps.
Golf
claps. Versus sounding. No, soft claps there. Whatever that was. That was that had a very suctiony kind of sound to it. It was not pleasant.
Oh, I'm doing that way more now. Yeah, I'm doing that way more now. Yeah.
How about that for another healthy episode for this season? The 13th floor. What can I say about that I haven't already said about the 12 others? You know what I'm saying? If I ain't said it 13 other times, I'll say it a 14th. It's good. But she ain't the Matrix. I don't know why I'm putting gender on the 13th floor, but I stand behind it. The Wachowskis made a better film. Nothing against the director of the 13th floor. His name, already forgotten. Lost to the seas of the internet. I'm sure someone will be able to remind me and cram it down my throat. But it's a good movie. It's a movie that holds nostalgia for me. Oops, pal, surprise. Wouldn't you know it, we watched another movie that serves as nostalgia for either me or John. Huh. Who would have saw that coming? Well, it certainly filled the nostalgia hole. It filled the weekly void that needed filling. And until next week, in closing as always, I'd like to say, Como se llama hermana? Lo siento, palapinto. Good night, all my fellow North Texans. And to all my fellow Angelinos, have some sweet, sweet dreams. And for everyone else in between, do that. Sleep well. This has been another episode of The Big Boys Podcast.
podcast produced by Not So Funny or Proud Productions. The team consists of co-hosts, co-producers, and co-editors Brian Hickey and John Sorrells, better known as John the Great. For more information about the duo or this show, please visit us at bigboyspodspot.com. Or feel free to take a gander at our production page, notsofunnyorproud.com. Look us up on social media and follow us at Big Boys Pod Spot. New episodes drop every Thursday on every popular podcast hosting platform known to man. So please be sure to like, subscribe, vibe, describe, contrive, confide, collide, abide, preside, tell your tribe, and most importantly, do prescribe. Me and Elixir for talking out the